The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the show. A little later on today, we'll speak with Lee Fong from Think Progress. The stuff he's digging up, Lewis, about front groups and bloggers pretending to be independent and actually being part of the legal defense team of the Koch brothers over in Wisconsin is unbelievable. We'll talk to him a little later. Also, just before the show, Congressman Richard Neal was here in studio with us. He is the congressman who actually represents this particular congressional district in Washington, D.C. So we'll run that interview with him as well. A lot to get to. And Lewis, at the top of the list, did you hear this story about prominent conservative radio hosts are actually planting scripted actors in their callers? You know, if you've ever listened to, it's really premier radio networks. If you've listened to Sean Hannity, or I'm trying to think who else is on premier radio, Glenn Beck, I believe, is premier radio. He may be ABC radio. There's a number of different networks that are using these planted callers, Lewis. And sometimes you'll turn it on and somebody will get right on and they will list perfect Republican talking points and the host will agree with them. And you're thinking, wow, I mean, if these conservative radio hosts are making so much sense that their callers are calling up, they're reciting their talking points perfectly, they agree, maybe there is something to the positions that these guys are espousing.
See, I wouldn't think about it that way. If I heard a call like that, I think this is kind of a boring show.
Like his callers are indoctrinated.
There's no banter going on here. I'm going to change it to something else.
Well, the Columbia Journalism Review actually put out a study, and they actually talked to one of these. I mean, they're actors, right? They're not political talk radio junkies. They're just actors playing a role. And an actor actually said if you pass the initial audition, you would be invited to call in to various talk shows and recite various scenarios that made for interesting radio. So it would be all prepared. Now, I'm not saying they all agree with conservative talking points, right? So it might be set up that you call in with a specific counterpoint to the host, and then the host, you tee it up and he destroys you, and it's like, wow, this host must really be onto something because the guy called, he made a great point, and Sean Hannity just blew him away.
Yeah. I'm thinking, though, what is the benefit for these actors? I mean, it's not like you can put this on your resume, right?
They get paid. No,
they
get paid.
Oh, okay.
The actors, one of these actors that came out with this did some snooping around and learned there's actually a service that does this. It's called Premier On Call. And it was offered by Premier Radio Networks, which is one of the biggest syndication companies. We actually have, and if you look up on our screen here, this was taken down, Lewis, after this whole story broke. But we were able to get a screenshot of the website, which was offering this Premier On Call service. And you can basically just sign up and say, here, we need people to call in saying this, here's what type of voice we want. And really, you can do so many things with this. So in other words, let's say you have a program and you want to feminize, for example, anti-war and pro-gay rights points of views, right? So what do? Well, you stage callers that are going to present lucid, well-recited talking points that are men. And then you also stage the callers that are going to call in support of gay rights or in support of women's rights. And you make them be either weak male voices or you make it be the women, right? You can just set it up and create this whole idea, this whole atmosphere that is incredibly self-serving. Now, am I saying something illegal is going on? Absolutely not. This is you have to remember, shows like mine and Sean Hannity's and so on and so forth, the primary focus is entertainment. And on the corporate media side, it's really to find content to put in between commercials so you can make money, right? So I'm not saying there's anything illegal. Is it unethical? I don't know. It's certainly not. If you don't know that this is going on, you are going to get the wrong idea for sure.
Right. I think it'd be interesting to talk to someone who was involved with this service.
Well, the Columbia Journalism Review did, and this is where they got most of the information. Now, here's what's unbelievable. If you look at the text that obviously it was taken down in a hasty frenzy by Premier On Call. It said, Premier On Call is our new custom caller service. We supply voice talent to take and make your on-air calls, improvise your scenes, or deliver your scripts. Using our simple online booking tool, specify the voice you need, and we'll get you the person fast, ensuring the authenticity of your programming by not having the same voice on more than once every 2 months. Wait a second. Staging pre-planned, pre-scripted phone calls to a show that presumably is relying on the audience ensures authenticity? That sounds backwards to me. What's authentic about planned, staged phone calls? It's astroturfing at its best. And I have to admit, Lewis, you know where I'm going with this. In the past, before anybody listened to this show, there was a time where I would make up emails, and sometimes I would tell friends to call in. And many of them were insulting to the show. I didn't care. I was desperate for any kind of controversy, you know? So we have to admit, we to a very different extent and for completely different reasons, we were desperate to get people calling. So I would just make up emails telling me that I'm terrible and then whatever else, and then I would respond. This is all in the members archive. If people are David Pakman Show members, you'll see some of the calls in 2006, 2007. They have been staged. We actually didn't give any scripts. It was staged in the sense that I would beg my friends, please call in, say anything. Tell me the show is terrible.
Right, and we didn't pay them either.
No, certainly they were unpaid. That's right. So I guess it's different, right?
I think it is.